Oh, I got you, dude. Shattering
Uh,
Ice. Good night.
no.
Yes!
Okay.
Combo breaker, baby!
So before I hit blockers declared and let you take the victory, I have to tell you that I had a Cthulhu Guardian of the Abyss in hand, and I had a plan set up to get me to 10 depth counters and play him on the last turn. I was going to swing in for 50 damage.
Oh my god, we
And
did it.
instead, I'm taking 18 here. Well played. All right, we're back for week 3 of reveal season, and tonight we're talking about the Sunken City. I'm pretty excited about these. What about you, AJ?
Yeah, these are pretty sweet. They are definitely different from everything else and play nicely off of the burn mechanics we talked about last week. This is a good opposition to that on some of these cards. I'm most excited for those, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a kind of a good push and pull between some of the new mechanics we've introduced. So
Yeah.
for Sunken City, we've got unlike some of the other realms that have two entirely new archetypes, we have one entirely new archetype that got a lot of cards, and then we have major support for an existing archetype, and then one kind of bonus card, minor support for a third archetype. So I think we'll start, since they're already on the screen, with the machinations for the
Yep.
Sunken City. Like all the others, it gets a base machination, a rare machination, and a legendary machination. And as you can tell by what we're picturing right now, these play into the Abyssal archetype. So we'll start with the base machination. That's the Serpentine amalgamation. It's a 1 mana 1/1. It has Rush as its keyword. Again, all the base machinations for the realms have one of the major keywords that their realm typically has. We saw Intimidate for the Black Forest. We saw Molten for the Void, and now we're seeing Rush for Sunken City, which, a lot of the Abyssal cards already have Rush, so that plays really well. And this guy has a on summon, create a that which lies below in hand. I was really excited about this addition. I love the Abyssal deck, and it feels so bad to never draw your that which lies below. So one, this is, if you wanted to go all in on it, this is a way to have technically 6 copies of it in your deck, or more importantly, you could run less copies of it and just run 3 of these, because it also feels bad to draw your that which lies below on turn 1 and then draw the other 2 a couple turns later and they're just dead cards in your hand. So
Yep.
this is a really good solution to that problem, I think, and it kind of brings, we'll see with the rest of the machinations tied to this, but it kind of brings something else into that archetype, gives it a little more directions you can take the deck building. And then the first machination we'll look at, again, plays into that same archetype. It's Fabricate Effect, so it's a 4 mana 3/3. This is Kraken, Grasp of the Abyss. It's a souped up mech version of the Kraken that we saw in the base set. And its Fabricate ability creates 2 random abyssal creatures in hand. So yeah, AJ, what are your thoughts on these two?
I like them so much. Getting a Serpentine Amalgamation in play on turn 2 has become my favorite play of the set, I think, because you can play it down and then immediately play that which lies below, and it just feels so good to do that. And then you could swing with them if you want, just get a little poke of damage in early if you'd like, or save them for a Machination to fabricate on. But it's an awesome play, and playing or getting a Kraken down and then getting like the Swarm of the Depths it coming out, and then you can rush with a couple more guys. It's a really big swing pivot turn sometimes. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. We have the what Rising Tides Sink All Ships, which is a similar play to this, but it's a 4 cost spell that it lets you pick. This is giving you random, that lets you pick which abyssal creature you want.
Right.
But this is a body, right? So you have to have a base machination on board, but assuming you do, you get just as powerful of an effect plus extra stats on a creature that can then swing in. So it's definitely a nice improvement to the deck.
Yeah, because the Kraken would get the rush off the Serpentine if you did them together. So he comes in quick. It's a 3/3 with rush. It's pretty slick.
Yeah, when he gets the base stats of whatever he fabricated onto. So you're talking a 4 mana
4/4.
4/4 with Rush. plus 2 Abyssal creatures in hand for a deck that
Pretty dope.
likes to come out early and rush the opponent down. That seems to fit right in. So
It's not so bad for turn 4.
all right. Well, then I think the next thing we should discuss is the legendary machination that ties into this whole Abyssal archetype. And that is the Leviathan.
Yes.
So the Leviathan is our legendary, like I was saying. He's a 6-mana 5/5. And he's got quite a bit of text on him. But he says his Fabricate is deal damage to enemy creatures equal to the amount of abyssal creatures you control. And then every turn, at the end of turn, you destroy the rest of your abyssal creatures, which sounds like a downside, but really isn't necessarily. So this guy kind of plays off of everything the Abyssal deck wants to do, right? You build your deck to pivot between two things. You're typically early game trying to rush the opponent down, get a bunch of creatures down, and just swing in for a bunch of damage. And then if that doesn't pan out, you're hoping that by late game, you've got 10 counters on your That Which Lies Below. You can drop a Cthulhu that turns into 5/10/10s with Rush and kill the opponent that way. And this guy kind of helps with both strategies, right? He comes down in the mid game, and assuming you've got a bunch of abyssal creatures on the board, he will likely clear your opponent's board with that Fabricate effect, and then all of the abyssal creatures that you have can swing in. And if that doesn't kill the opponent, at the end of that turn, he's going to destroy all of them, and each one destroyed adds a counter onto your That Which Lies Below, which then plays into the Cthulhu. So he's kind of your mid-game bomb that lets you kind of play still towards both of those strategies. So I don't know, AJ, what are your thoughts?
I love this card so much. Not only is the art like Godzilla-esque, like Robo Godzilla, that is freaking awesome. I like to think about. So let's clarify this for people. When you have a machination down, you can fabricate onto a regular machination as well. They don't have to be a base. Is that correct?
Right. Yep. So you
So
can keep fabricating onto this guy. Yep. I see where you're going.
so you can fabricate onto your Kraken you have down. All of a sudden, you have a 9/9 with Rush that comes out, does burst damage on Fabricate, and then comes in swinging with 9 damage, let's say, just on a regular Kraken Fabricate. That's bananas. I love that so much. It's so awesome to get that going.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a very good point. So yeah, the Fabricate, and we'll see this as the set releases and people start experimenting with it, but the ability to fabricate back and forth on and every time gain the stats, activate both Fabricate abilities, it makes for some really cool gameplay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's our machinations for the set. That kind of covers the additions to the Abyssal archetype, and now we'll talk about a entirely new archetype. So we're going to start with some spells. We'll look at 2 of them here. Nope, wrong card.
Spoiler.
Not ready for him yet. Yeah, spoiler before the spoiler. Here we go. Nope, that's still the same
Nope.
card.
Spoiler.
You'll see the artwork is very similar. Here it is. Okay.
Got him.
So we're going to talk about... Nope, wrong card.
Nope.
Okay, a lot of
Spoiler.
the artwork is similar. There we go. All right. So we're going to talk about freezing. So frozen is the new keyword that we've added for the Sunken City. And as AJ was kind of alluding to earlier, it plays really well off of the new keywords that we added on the Void side. But we've given you the ability with spells and some other effects that you'll see to freeze enemy creatures. And what that means is on your turn, when you activate any kind of effect that freezes the opponent's creature, you'll see the frozen icon show up on it, just like you would anytime a keyword's added. And then during the following turn, that creature cannot attack. So looking at our first spell here, Frostbite, it's just a 1-cost spell, and it freezes a random enemy creature. So say you're playing against a spider deck, and your opponent has a Ravenous Spinner down. So all they have is a 4/2 with Intimidate, and you don't have any creatures on your side, or at least no creatures that can block Intimidate. You play this Frostbite, it freezes their creature, they can't attack the next turn, so that buys you an extra turn to get something on the board that's able to block that thing. And then scaling things up a little bit, we've got the Wave of Frost, which is a 4-mana spell, and it freezes all of their creatures. So say they've got a huge board, and you are not prepared to block it. You play this, and you know the next turn they can't attack with anything. Again, it's a very good stall mechanic. You're building towards like a control combo-esque finish. You'll see there's a whole archetype built around this, but I've also been experimenting with throwing these into like a Cthulhu deck or something where you're trying to kind of control the board a little bit and stall towards the late game. So it's a very versatile tool set. Another thing really nice with the Wave of Frost is if they have a full board, say they've got 5 creatures down and you play this, it essentially locks them out of their next turn. I mean, they can play spells and curses, right? But they can't do anything with their creatures and they can't play anymore. So it can be a really good stall tool. What are your thoughts, AJ?
These are amazing. I love the idea of freeze. It's great. Again, the artwork is insane. It's very thematic. I love being an aggressive player. I tend to be low to the ground rush style of gameplay, but this is
Fighters.
this. Yeah. Yes, sir. That's your boy. And then, this has been the most fun control style that I've had because it's kind of mid-rangey, right? You're not really controlling per se in terms of like, just like lifesteal on the silent side, right? You're just not like becoming an unkillable force. You're just kind of stalling temporarily so you can kind of get to your power cards. A lot of the ones that are in the archetype here are a little more expensive, so you have to strategically use these cards to buy your time. And if you misplay them, it might cost you the game. So there's a lot of decision making to make. It's super fun to weave these in out of nowhere and just completely throw your opponent for a loop.
Yeah, I would definitely say, and we'll see it as we dive through the rest of the cards, but it is probably one of the higher skill ceiling decks that we've introduced into Nightmares so far.
Yep.
All right, so let's keep going. Who do we have next? Let's take a look at some support cards. So we have the Frost Mage, and I'll pull up the token that it summons so we can look at it too. All right, so Frost Mage we'll talk about first. It is a 5 cost 3/3, and on summon, it will summon 2 1/1 Frost Elementals that freeze enemies on attack. And I I think we need to update the text on both of these, but those Frost Elementals do have Rush.
Yes.
So you play this down on turn 5. You summon 2 Frost Elementals. They're just 1/1s. These versions of them when they come down, but they can immediately attack. And your opponent has to now debate: do I take 2 damage or do I block each of these? But if I block them, whatever creature I block with immediately becomes frozen. So again, it's a stall tool. If they choose not to block it, that's still okay. Now you've got 3 blockers for the next turn for the cost of 1 card, right? So again, just plays into that, trying to stall things out. And like you've said a few times, I love the artwork in these cards.
Of course. Yes, absolutely. And also, it is as a Void player more than a Sunken City player, these are the most annoying trades to make with Void engines. They're the ones that are always going to be batting heads against each other because it's the most even way to just not get the most value out of your opponent's cards on either side, right? You're not going to get the burn, you're not going to get the freeze. They'll just cancel each other out, but they're key parts of the decks. So it's an awesome interaction between the two. Love it.
100%. All right, so let's look at some more support cards before we get to the big bombs. So depending on what you're playing against, say if you're playing against a silence deck, this could be considered a big bomb.
Yep.
In most decks, it's not going to be but so effective, but it definitely has its uses. It's Frost Guardian, which is a 3 cost 2/4, and all that really matters is his effect, which says players who control a frozen creature cannot gain life. So it does put a bit of a requirement on you as the Sunken City player to continue freezing one of their creatures each turn. I'll show you in a minute how that can be really easy to do. But as long as they have a frozen creature, they cannot gain life. So the most fun version of this I've done is queuing into a life paying silence deck that's all based around paying life and then trying to use spells and stuff to gain it back. I just throw one of these on the board and their whole strategy just kind of falls apart until they can find a way to get rid of this. So it immediately becomes you have to get rid of target, which is just pretty cool. What are your thoughts on it?
I like him as a general role player in the deck, even if it's hard to just have him always get max value, right? Because he gets max value on a very small subset of archetypes, right? but he is above the breakpoint of toughness for a lot of the AoE spells. So he can withstand some of that and still be a blocker and be an annoying 2-attack or a 4 health creature to soak damage and even ping an attacker back. So he's a solid card all around, regardless of whether you're playing against a life gain deck or not. I love it.
I do think he falls firmly into the slot of like a tech card. So
Yep.
if down the line we start looking at implementing like a best of 3 format, or even if we have tournaments or anything where there's sideboarding involved, this is always a good card to have in a sideboard type scenario, right? Because
100%.
you're queuing into a silence deck. All right, well, this will shut them down.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
all right, now I was alluding to the fact. Oh nope, man, I keep
Spoilers. Look away.
Yep. I was alluding to the fact that there are cards that make it very easy to freeze your opponent's creatures each turn. And here's a good one. Never Ending Ice. It's a curse, and at the start of turn, it will just freeze a random enemy creature. So same as like playing a Frostbite, but it happens at the beginning of every turn. And then the important caveat here, we've seen a similar effect in, I think, Shield of the Damned in the past, but if your opponent has no creatures, when this triggers at the start of the turn, then you destroy it. So as long as they have creatures, you'll continue freezing one at the start of each turn, just randomly. But then if they decide not to play a creature for a turn because they want to get rid of this, then this will go away. But any of your things, and we'll see some powerful ones here in a second, but any of your things that cue off of your opponent having a frozen creature, kind of like the Frost Guardian did, this is a perfect way to make sure that they always take effect. So.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the key pieces for the endgame combo for this archetype that we'll get to next. As the player going against this card, you do not want to see this get played by the Sunken City player. It is so scary because if when it gets destroyed, that means you don't have any creatures down. So that's already bad news, Bears. You kind of want, once it's out, you want to kind of have it stick around because you always want to have somebody out. But it's never not annoying. So it's great. It's a really strong curse.
It can be pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at one of the bigger payoffs for this thing, and probably this is up there for my favorite card in the set. I know I keep saying it about every card. I love this set. All right, so Devouring Ice. I will tell you that me and AJ had a fun time balancing this thing.
To say the least.
it has gone through some iterations, and there was one point where it was unstoppable. But
yeah,
I think we've hit a pretty good sweet spot with it now, and it is a 7-cost 4/4. And at the end of each of your turns, you'll destroy a frozen enemy and gain its stats. So hang on, I'm gonna move this over so we can look at these side by side for a second, because this is the combo. So you've got a Never-Ending Ice on the board. At the start, you know that at the start of each turn, you're going to freeze an opponent's creature. You play down a Devouring Ice. Well, you know at the end of your turn, before that creature has any chance to unfreeze, you're going to eat it. You're going to destroy that thing, and you're going to gain its stats.
Yep.
This combo is so much fun when you're playing it, and it is so frustrating when you're against it. But this gets out of hand quickly. It's a 7-cost 4/4, so right, so it's very understated for the cost. But if your opponent just has a couple 2/2s down, each turn you're gaining +2/+2 and destroying one of their creatures. This one gets out of hand quickly, and this is a good example of kind of the push and pull of, okay, well, they want to get rid of your Never-Ending Ice, so this won't keep happening. But if they choose to go a turn without a creature on the board, then however big your Devouring Ice has gotten to is going to get to swing into them for free the next turn, which in a lot of games, this thing gets up above like a 12/12 and can very easily close out the game with a single swing. So
yeah,
this is a pretty fun combo. What are your
it's
thoughts
awesome.
on it?
I like the little bit of variance, right? Like, let's say the opponent has a Hulking Void Abomination down, right? And he's also thicked up, and then all of a sudden, Never-Ending Ice could get him, or it could get like the 1/1 Void Engine. So it's super exciting at the start of your turn to see which thing gets frozen, and it's got some high highs, but the floor is not very low. The floor is also pretty high. It's as long as something gets frozen, you're having a good time. It's really awesome.
Say, I have lost some games to accidentally eating the 1/1 instead of like the 12/12 that I needed to get
Sure.
rid of. But yeah, so there's, like you're saying, there's a little variance involved, and we wanted
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
We made most of these, if not all of these freeze effects random for a reason. We didn't want them to be overpowered. We wanted there to be a variance element to it. We didn't want you to be able to select which creature you wanted to freeze each time, because then we'd have to raise the cost, and it didn't work out well for the strategy of the deck.
Yep.
But having them be random, but keeping the cost curve a little lower, it's made for a fun play style. So
Yeah, it's in a good spot.
all right, well, wouldn't be a new archetype, wouldn't be complete without its own legendary. So
Of
let's
course.
talk about this legendary spell, Shattered Ice. Also, a very fun card to balance.
Yep.
We've had a couple iterations of this bad boy too. I think at one point this thing cost 3, which is insane.
Yep, it was bad. It's not
Yeah,
good.
so it is a 7 cost spell, which is much more appropriate. And it
Yeah.
destroys enemy frozen creatures, all of them, and deals 1 damage to your opponent for each creature destroyed. Uh, and it's like a finisher with the combo, right? So you've got your Devouring Ice down, you've got your Never Ending Ice going. You can try to freeze a bunch of your opponent's creatures, maybe play an extra frostbite or two, and then use this to destroy most, if not all, of their creatures, do a little bit of damage, but more importantly, it frees you up to now be able to swing without worrying about being blocked.
Yep.
One fun and important breakpoint to know here. Let me pull it up. Oops. So you will have exactly 1 turn to do this combo. We made these costs equal to 11 on purpose because you only have 11 mana on the last turn before sanity runs out. But on that very last turn, if you have them both in hand and say you've already built up a board, you can freeze all their creatures, destroy all their creatures, do damage equal to however many you just destroyed. Now you've guaranteed an empty board and swing in with whatever you have. So if you've built up a Devouring Ice, say you took a whole bunch of damage early in the game while you were trying to stall, and your opponent's just been above you in life total the whole game. You've been using your Devouring Ice and your Shattered Ice combo to whittle their board down. You've built up this big, strong board, but they've always got blockers down, and you haven't been able to do enough damage. So sanity is about to run out. You're still going to lose. This is how you can turn those tables, right? Wave of
Yep.
Frost, freeze everything. Shattered Ice, destroy everything. Do a little bit of damage, and then swing in and kill them, or get them low enough that you're now ahead. When sanity drops to 0. So this one doesn't often happen because it costs
Yep.
exactly 11. But when it does, it can be devastating.
Yeah, it makes you really do feel like an ice wizard when you're slinging these spells, especially back to back. It's just all of a sudden everybody gets locked up and then they all get obliterated, and then it's just wombo combo time.
Absolutely. And speaking of, feeling like a spell slinger, before we move off of this archetype, we talked about how this archetype felt very different, and very new. It felt like a new play style for Nightmares. But one kind of thing to really accentuate that is, and we'll talk about it when we get into the deck tech, but when you're building this deck, if you're going full into the Frost archetype, you typically run a total of like maybe 6 creatures. Like the vast majority of your deck is spells, which is not, common. Typically, more than half of your deck in Nightmares tends to be creatures, just based on the strategies that we've introduced so far. So, this again, you'll see it in the gameplay tonight. It feels very unique. It feels very new and fresh, refreshing inside of Nightmares. So.
Yes, it's an exciting avenue to open up for future archetypes where you could build just some spell slinging decks and then manipulate board states differently. So I'm excited for the design space of this going forward.
Absolutely. All right. So we have one more card to talk about. It's
Yep.
technically a realmless card, and it actually can benefit a whole bunch of decks, but you'll be able to tell by the artwork who we think is going to use it the most. Uh, this is the Graveyard, and it slots in perfectly to the Undead deck. But
Yep.
it's another one of our areas, the new card type that we're introducing. Just as a reminder, For anybody who didn't watch our first reveal video on how areas work, you play them like any card, pay their cost, and your game board now becomes the area. The background artwork's actually replaced with the artwork from the card, and whatever the effect is on the area card is now in effect for both players. Affects both the same way. If there's benefits, it benefits both the same way. If there's damage or any kind of detriment, it applies that to both players equally. And then either player has the ability to. All of the areas have a pay this to destroy them cost, and during your turn you can pay that to destroy them. So that's just an overview on areas themselves. The graveyard is a 3-cost area that reads, whenever a creature goes to the graveyard, its owner gains a life. This, thankfully, was introduced into the game, or is going to be introduced to the game after we capped your life at the starting 20.
Yep.
There were some games we did in playtesting before that change had been made, and it ended up just a race to who could have the highest life total. We'd have like 50 versus 49.
Yep.
But no, it's cool. It plays incredibly well into the undead deck, which is already trying to do this and already has effects similar to this. But any, minion based or creature based deck, say a spider deck, something like that, where you have a lot of creatures that are probably going to be dying off. Well, it's a way to not sacrifice a lot of tempo. It's only 3 cost, but continue keeping your life total up so you can focus on always attacking. You don't have to worry as much about blocking, because if your creatures are dying, you're gaining life from it. So it has a surprising amount of versatility, although, again, it slots real nice into that undead deck.
So let me ask this, because I genuinely don't think I know this. Does this apply to cards discarding from your hand, or is it only from the battlefield?
This is everything. Discarding from hand, discarding from the
Nice.
top of the deck. So again, that's why it slots so well into undead, right?
Yeah.
Is you already have a whole bunch of effects that are trying to get things into your graveyard.
Yep.
But no, this triggers off of everything. So it
I'm thinking about an Abyssal, or my own Abyssal aggro deck. I think this could be pretty sweet.
Yep, it's surprising the amount of things it can slot into.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Nice.
It's right behind Proving Grounds for me, I think, in terms of which ones I like the most. It's like right up there, right after Proving Grounds.
Forge is up there too. For me, I don't know. It's kind of a toss between the 3. I think Forge is my favorite just because I like the getting access to base machinations with effects from other realms. I think is really cool. But I don't know. I love the design for all of the areas in the set. I
agree.
I think they're going to be a lot of fun. So
they are. I can tell you, they're great.
This is true. I think everybody's gonna have a lot of fun playing with them. How's that?
Yes, that's better. I agree with that.
Cool. All right. Well, that is the cards for the Sunken City with our 1 realmless bonus here at the end. Why don't we jump over to the deck text, and then we can show off some of the gameplay with these new decks.
All right, man. Let's do it.
All right. So let's talk deck tech for the Frost deck. This is a very interesting deck to build, and by no means do I think I have the perfect 30 here. But I think I'm onto something fairly solid. The weird kind of thing you're fighting here is figuring out just how many creatures, especially early game creatures, you need to be able to stabilize and stay alive in the early game, with kind of the counterpoint that the vast majority of the power of the deck comes from your spells, right? So I'm running, obviously there's the creatures that the deck is built around, right? So you've got your Devouring Ice, which you want all 3 of. But then the vast majority of the rest of your higher cost, your powerful cards are your spells, right? You've got your Double Shattered Ice. We've got our 3 copies of the Neverending Ice Curse. We've got 3 copies of Wave of Frost, 3 copies of Frostbite, 3 copies of Foresight. You'll see drawing is very important in this deck. So then with the remaining slots, the question becomes, okay, which creatures do we want, right? Because really the only creatures you care about in the late game, or for your actual win con, is just your Devouring Ices. So we want to run the 3 Frost Mages. it's just a good way to get additional freezes outside of our normal spell packages. And then it's all about stabilization, right? So Rogue Deep Ones are just always a good creature to run. Being able to filter your draws and get rid of cards that you don't necessarily need over the next couple of turns is just a very powerful mechanic. Because we run the Rogue Deep Ones and we can filter some extra creatures into our graveyard, the Necro Shields I've found to be useful, because again, we're going to lose life early. Like, that's just a part of the deck, right? Because we don't have a strong early game presence. We try to have enough to stabilize, but we're definitely not winning in the early game. So we're going to lose some life. So having a way to gain some of that back is important. And then the other piece was just, believe it or not, some Swarm of Deaths. And these are just, you're not using them for the rush effects, right? You're just using them for blockers. And the important thing is you play one after the first one, or if you killed some off with a Rogue Deep one, then you get a second blocker. So it feels very strange to play a Swarm of Death and then pass the turn and not swing at your opponent with 2/3/1s. But for blockers, while we're trying to set up our combo, it actually works pretty well. So yeah, that's the early take on the deck. This is a few iterations deep, so it's not the first one we threw together, but I still think there's a lot of refinement that can be done on this. I think there may be a way to kind of pair this strategy with some of the undead stuff. So there's a lot of experimentation, but this is the deck list we're going to run in the games tonight. And with that being said, let's queue over into a match with AJ and see how it does.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Deck Tech for the Abyssal Machinations. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite decks that we have in Nightmares. One of my favorite archetypes. Like I said previously, you guys know I'm an aggressive low to the ground player. I like my spiders. I like my void aggro decks in Abyssal. So this one is a nice little twist on that strategy. So if you look at the deck list on the left here, a lot of very familiar cards. We have all of our staples, right? We have That Which Lies Below. We have our Swarm of Death. We have the Bottom Feeder. We got the Cthulhu, Guardian of the Abyss, of course. And those are our main cards. We do have the Hunger of the Depths as well. They're becoming a favorite late game card for me because of how many cards we can get in the graveyard with this specific deck list and the reliability that we can get a That Which Lies Below down early. And if you'll notice, we only have one of those curses directly in the deck. But as we were talking about during the expansion reveal for this earlier in this video, we have the Serpentine Amalgamations, right? And so those guys, let's see, can I find them in here somewhere? Where are you guys hiding at? There we go. So these guys here, they're the 1-cost 1/1, and when they summon, they create a That Which Lies Below curse in your hand. So let's say we don't draw one turn one. We get one of these, we draw it up, 2 mana play. We get Amalgamation down, we get the curse down. Or turn one, we play this anyways, and we know next turn we have the curse in hand. So that's its main role. Yes, it's nice to get the rush and the 1/1 on a bigger machination, but that's not the primary reason we have them in the deck. We're trying to get that curse, and we're trying to use it as early as possible. That's going to give us the success that we want. We have the Kraken as well. So we have the Kraken Grasp of the Abyss. This is our main early to mid game machination. It's going to give us 2 additional abyssal creatures that we can throw down, help get those depth counters as quickly as we can. Just cannon fodder early, right? We're trying to get them in the graveyard. We don't worry about losing those guys. Ideally, we'll put this on the Serpentine Amalgamation, give them rush, so we can come out with a nice 4/4, swing some damage. Tanking those up late with the bottom feeders is great. It's one of my favorite things to do. It just gives them the extra +3 defense and an extra swing. So super great. We like those. What else we got? We got some of the base. We got the base machinations. We have just the Scrap Bot and the Scrap Intimidator just to help fill out our base set. We don't want to be without base machinations. We want to always have access to those. Whether we use them or not, it's not crucial. Ideally, we're just going to play those the same turn we fabricate them. We're not going to have them hanging around the board. So we want to do it when we have like 7 mana, and we'll play a Scrap Bot if we had to, and then we play our Leviathan for 6, all in the same turn. So then it comes out as a 6/6. So Leviathan's a good mid-game play. We're going to try to get those depth counters out, and our finisher, we're looking to do the Cthulhu drop. Guardian of the Abyss to get the rush and the board flood with all the 10/10s. So nothing too drastically changes. Our early to mid game is modified, but the end game goal is still the same. How we get there is different with this in an exciting way, using some new cards, some new mechanics, and I'm really excited about it. So we're probably going to try to get frosted out by Mike when we play. I know he's starting on the frost deck, so if we can avoid that and come out fast and loose, I think we'll be good to go. So we'll see y'all out there. All right,
AJ, game number 1.
Yes, sir. We got Abyssal Machinations versus Frost, right?
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting matchup for sure.
Agreed.
Alright. I have seen worse starting hands.
Yeah, I am not too mad about it. Here's a new card.
Alright. Yeah, I need you to have a lot less rush than I know that you do.
That's gonna be the only way. We gotta stay ahead of your chili boys.
Yeah, you really need to take the advantage early, which should be able to do. It just comes down to whether or not I can stabilize.
Right, we're gonna use the curse.
Look, we
There
found
we
out
go.
that applies below.
Shocking. As
And
if the
another-
amalgamation didn't help. Of course, of course.
Look at those 2 sea serpents.
Look at them go.
One just happens to be made of metal.
That's all.
Alright, let's go with a rogue deep one. Take the combo piece. Okay. Yep. Over to you.
Sounds good. Alright, coming in with a Storm of Death
Oh.
here.
Yep. Don't love that.
I'll get on up there. Gotta do it. Got to
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, you're not wrong. Doesn't mean I have to like it.
Not a bad start.
Yeah, you're starting off strong. Alright, one of the... Well, no, actually, is this better? Yeah, this is probably better. There you go.
Nice.
Get a little life back.
Yep, very nice.
Stabilize a little.
Absolutely. Alright, let's see. What do we want to do now? Probably another one of these.
Yeah. Speaking of stabilizing.
Yep, we're out here. Hey, you're only down 2 on the turn cycle there, so not so bad. Just gain the 3 off the Necro Shield.
Yeah. Alright. Now this, like I said in the deck tech, we're gonna end up getting fairly low while we try to stabilize, but
Yep.
that's my best play. Alright. Need to turn
Right.
the corner here.
We're up to 4 death counters, so that's okay. We'll use the curse and resurrect.
And we'll take another 3. Alright. Let's go. Oh man, I did not find what I needed here.
Oh no. Good old variance.
I mean, it's not terrible if I take another one of these.
Alright,
But-
alright.
I was really hoping to find something else. Yeah, I think I just have to get a second blocker down.
Hey, that's my card.
Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned this in the deck tech, but it feels really strange to play a Swarm of the Depth and then pounce, because I only use it as a blocker. But it works.
It
Being
does.
able to, especially after the first one dies, being able to summon 2 blockers for 3, when my whole goal in the early game is just stabilizing, is actually pretty useful.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, okay, we got a Kraken.
Sure do.
Okay, there's an angler. Alright.
Angler got down to 1 cost.
Yeah, he does that.
he tends to do that.
Yeah. He do that. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Yep, I have to play this.
Yep. Sure. Okay. Let's see.
Man, I just need like breathing room for 1 turn, which is not
That's
something
it.
I'm realistically getting against your deck, but 1 turn is all I need.
Let's do a Hunger of the Depths and a Bottom Feeder.
Oh, yep. So I'm not getting it this turn.
Should have played Jaws of the Depths earlier there to get
Yep.
the buff. I didn't see him in my hand. Too many cards. Yeah, too many cards in my hand.
Alright, alright, I gotta think about this. Okay, I definitely block these 2. Oh, do I block the 4-1? Probably. Oh, that leaves you with still so much damage. I take the 4, possibly 7. No, I think it's block. Okay.
Give me that mage.
I have 1 card I have to draw. I have 3 chances at it.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice.
We found it.
Nice. Nice.
Alright, where's your board?
Nice.
Still probably not enough, but I need to find another one of those, I think.
Yeah, probably. Do a Scrapbot. And a Kraken.
Sure. Everybody loves a nice Kraken.
Everybody do. Everybody do. Alright, well, no attacks. Frozen. Well played, well played.
Speaking of frozen,
It's still frozen.
Right back.
Still frozen. Yep.
and never-ending ice.
Nice. Alright. Let's see.
Unfortunately, I think you're wide enough that there's not much I can do.
Yeah, I can't play anything, so that's the end of my turn. I gotta discard a card here.
Ooh, that helps.
Nice.
No. Depends on what it chooses to freeze. That
Got a
could
lot
be
of
enough.
frostbites. Yep.
Yep, depends on what this guy eats. Eat the 7-8. Oh, he didn't eat the 7-8. Oh, dang it.
Let's see.
Man, if he ate the 7-8, we would be in business.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that hurts my soul. Valiant effort, though.
Yeah, no, that was pretty scary to see that happen in real time. I'll be honest.
Although, to be fair, even if I ate the 7-8, I think I might be out of time. I'm pretty sure I've already lost my Shattered Ices. I think oh no, I might still have 1 in deck. I have to block that 8-3, unfortunately.
Yes. Whew. Getting rid of that guy is perfect. Dang, big boy got frozen again.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm gonna lose on sanity, but we'll make sure that's the only way I lose.
Nice, nice. Well, let's do the Leviathan.
Oh, don't love that.
Do that, and Hungering Depths with a rush. Let's just make you eat your words.
10. Okay, yep. I'm eating my words. Well
Leviathan.
played. Leviathan for the win. I mean, you had to win, but Leviathan for the brutal way of killing me.
That was fun, man. Seeing some of the ice combo work near the end game, that was scary. It gets scary out of
It
nowhere.
started coming together. What I was hoping was that turn that I double frostbited, I was hoping to draw into a shattered ice, and then I would have been able to freeze all that stuff and kill all of it. I was gonna have just enough mana left, and then I think I maybe had a chance of swinging the game back, but
It felt
didn't
like
quite
it.
draw into what I needed.
Good game, man. That was really fun.
Yeah, man, GG. All right.
Game 2.
Yep, game 2. Let's see if I can get a little redemption here. Didn't quite pan out for me when I was playing Frost.
So we're swapping decks, so everybody's aware.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what I guess I keep these. This is an interesting starting hand. Oh, okay, never mind. That's fine.
Let's see. Take that.
I mean, that is a pretty standard opener for your deck. This is a pretty standard opener for mine.
Yeah, very nice.
This is messing with me having to shift mindsets this hard. This is like opposite ends of the spectrum of deck types.
Absolutely. Alright, play a little rogue deep one out there.
Okay. I'm pretty sure this is exactly how the last game started, like turn for turn.
It is. Deja vu is happening heavy right now. The plans are planning.
That they are.
Shocking.
Yeah, I wonder where I got that from.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's worked out kind of nice.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right, you know, the old aggressive Frost deck.
Not a bad start. The rogue deep one found me one of those.
Nice.
It drew 2. It showed 2. So I put one on top and the other one I could put in the graveyard. So I just did the old draw and resurrect.
Oh, I love that combo.
Yeah, that was fun. I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, you don't. A lot of times you don't typically run those two in the same deck, but there may be a case for including Rogue Deep One in just like the standard Abyssal list just for that combo, because it's a pretty powerful turn 3 play if you can pull it off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that seems fair. Let's get rid of Deep One. Okay. Not loving how this is starting. But this is a little better.
Oh, nice. That's a good counterplay. Well, I don't want to lose health. I still need to play the long game here.
Yeah, you're definitely playing for the long game. And I'm playing for the kill you as quickly as I possibly can game.
Right. Alright, so we're gonna get the never-ending ice down. Of course.
Okay.
Now, start of turn, I'll freeze that, and then I will frostbite that one so he can't.
I was
come
hoping
at
you
me.
didn't have an additional freeze. Well
Yeah,
played,
yeah.
well played. Okay. I probably... What's better here? Probably just... Ooh, actually, no. It's probably this. Oh! No! Oh! I activated that which lies below, but I have 2 depth counters. I forgot Swarm of Death costs 3 now, so it just spent 5 mana and did nothing. Oh!
We take the misplays.
Yep, so I'm just trying to give you a little breathing room to stabilize.
Yeah.
Just thinking of you.
Yeah, it's very gentlemanly of you, I'll be honest.
Oh, God, that hurt my soul.
Yeah, at least I wasn't at 7 mana when you did that. That could have been a little worse.
This is true. Yeah, it's true. You could have Devouring Ice to me there. That would have hurt pretty bad.
Yes.
Man, I can't believe I did that. Alright, let's see if we can get a little redemption here. Hey, look, our guy's still frozen. It never ends.
Hey,
Alright,
imagine.
let's go
Yeah.
Scrap
It
Intimidator.
never ends.
And Angler. Pass turn.
Nice.
Okay,
Nice.
froze the Scrap Intimidator. I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
No.
Not so bad. However,
Oh god, here it comes. There he is.
we're gonna gobble him up.
Yep, alright, so that gives you a 6/6. Which means I've got to do something about that. Okay. I can do something about that.
Nice. Nice.
Alright. Feel free to take an absurd amount of damage if you would like.
I shan't. I'm gonna block him, and I will block one of those two guys.
Yeah, that was the right play.
Okay. Like so. Okay, froze the 4/4.
So you'll get to eat that.
Let's see. Vision. That Frost Mage out?
Ooh, that's a good play.
That's not bad.
Yep.
Not bad. Not bad. So, decision is I'm not going to swing the big boy. That would be silly right now. Die. We're gonna gobble up the other guy anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this for a chance to not let you have the 4/4.
Who's fair?
There you go.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, what's right here? Oh, I think it's this. Yep, it's that.
Nice, nice. Alright. We'll block that. Take that out. And
Okay, keeping the life total healthy. I like it.
yep. Maneuver here.
Oh man,
7-3.
we froze the 7/3.
Sure did. Oh, Pat, why are you yelling? Oh. Well, that's not terrible. Okay. The cards I left my deck. 7. I'm down to the wire, it feels like.
Yeah, you definitely filter through a lot of your deck in that one.
Another Devouring Ice, because why not?
Okay. 15/4. That's not shabby.
It's not too bad.
Alright, I think I start here.
Nice.
Oh, I was really hoping that was going to be 2, 3, 1s.
Oh, man, yeah.
I mean, it's not terrible. We'll come in with the 4 attack guy.
Yeah, that worked. We'll use the baby Devouring Ice
Yeah,
to make
that's
that
right,
clean.
Oh, so you're going to eat a 6/6. Oh, this is getting out of hand.
Not going well. We'll freeze that guy with the Frostbite.
Oh, God. Okay, okay. This is fine. This is fine.
Everything's fine. Oh, I got you, dude. Shattering Ice. Good night.
No!
Yes!
Okay.
Combo breaker, baby!
So before I hit blockers declared and let you take the victory, I have to tell you that I had a Cthulhu Guardian of the Abyss in hand, and I had a plan set up to get me to 10 depth counters and play him on the last turn. I was going to swing in for 50 damage.
Oh my god, we did it.
Instead, I'm taking 18 here. Well played.
Yes, so that might be one of the better games I've played actually in a minute. That was pretty dope.
That was pretty awesome. Well played. That was a really good.
Thank you, sir.
Really good play on the Frost deck. Well done.
Yes, so fun. Love it. Good
Yeah.
game, man.
GG's, buddy.